With just 1,000, he discovered the hidden secret to building an inspiring billion-dollar empire. Jake stood in the garage, grease-stained hands resting on the hood of an old Chevy. The afternoon heat curled around him like a heavy blanket, and sweat trickled down his forehead. At 28, he felt like he was drowning in bills and responsibilities. The lives of his mother and younger sister depended on him. Just 1,000 left in the bank, and the American dream seemed to be fading away like the sun behind the horizon. He thought about the past when life felt simpler, riding bikes with friends, lazy summer days. But now every decision weighed on him. The clatter of tools echoed in the garage, each sound a reminder of his struggle. At times, he'd stare at that silhouette of hope, a bright future that always felt just out of reach. Then, one sultry summer afternoon, fate had a way of changing things. In walked Sarah, his high school classmate, radiating confidence like the summer sun. Once the shy girl with a knack for computers, she now personified success. Her excitement was contagious as she shared a local initiative designed to revitalize Prairieville. "Jake, you should really think about starting your own shop. This is the perfect time." For a brief moment, inspiration flickered within him. Visions of his own garage, bustling with customers, filled his mind. Could he turn his meager savings into something more? But doubt settled back in, filling his heart with heaviness. Can a struggling mechanic really compete against the big guys? He thought, feeling the grip of reality. Just then, he met Tom, a grizzled Iraq War veteran whose eyes told stories of battles fought, both on foreign soil and within his own mind. Their shared struggles forged a bond. In conversations beneath the flickering garage lights, Tom shared tales of resilience, igniting a spark in Jake. What if his little shop wasn't just about getting by? What if it became a place of healing for the community? But as the days turned into weeks, doubt seeped in like rain on a cracked roof. The skepticism from townsfolk was palpable. Just sell to a corporation, some would advise. That fast cash was tempting, but it felt like betrayal. His father's spirit haunted him, the man who tirelessly worked to support their family. Proud yet humble. A personal crisis hit hard when a long-avoided family member reached out, opening old wounds. Anger rose within Jake, but it was paired with a need for closure. He realized confronting his past was just as crucial as building a future. What did home really mean? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With fresh determination, Jake faced the looming question. Could he fight for his dreams while remaining true to the roots that shaped him? Those connections, those memories, they became his strength. As he took a deep breath, he realized that maybe, just maybe, the true measure of wealth was the community he built around him. But with decisions weighing heavy, he wondered if he could hold on to it all before everything slipped away. The following morning, Jake stood at the threshold of his garage, taking in the scent of oil and metal. Felt different today. He could hear the faint hum of possibility whispering through the open door. As birds chirped outside, he pushed aside the doubts swirling in his mind and decided to dig deeper within himself, to find a way to make his goals align with the values that shaped his family. That resolve led him to take action. He spent the day sketching out his vision on paper, turning dreams into tangible plans. Each line drawn was a step toward a rugged road, but it felt invigorating. Every bit of his energy fueled by the hope of creating something meaningful, a workspace that wasn't just about fixing cars but about building community. Jake envisioned evenings filled with laughter, the sound of music playing softly while neighbors shared stories and connected in a way that would symbolize the heartbeat of Prairieville. Later that week, he walked into the local library, seeking resources. Rows of dusty books lined the shelves, but he was drawn to the warm glow of the community board. It was vibrant with flyers announcing local gatherings and small business workshops. His pulse quickened as he saw a flyer for a business development seminar, promising guidance for budding entrepreneurs. This is it, he thought, excitement coursing through him like electricity. Jake signed up, committing himself to gaining the skills he needed. It wasn't too long before he found himself sitting in a room with 10 other hopeful individuals, all eager to create their own paths. He listened intently to the seasoned instructors, soaking in knowledge about business models and marketing strategies. The air was thick with aspiration, and for the first time in years, he felt like he belonged among dreamers. One of the instructors, a local coffee shop owner named Lisa, shared her own journey. She spoke of sleepless nights and relentless challenges, but also of the rewards of turning a small investment into something larger. Her story resonated deeply, stirring an unshakable belief in Jake, a belief that he could do something similar. As days passed, Jake became more involved in the community, attending town meetings where he met others who believed in supporting each other's ventures. Bonds knitted from shared struggles began to strengthen. He recalled the laughter during meetings beneath flickering lights with Tom and how important those connections felt. The ghost of doubt, which had haunted him for years, began to dissipate. He realized he could channel his pain and frustration into motivation. Then came an unexpected call. His mother had received an offer from an old friend, Bob. Bob was a successful mechanic who had opened his own shop. He wanted to help Jake launch his dream by partnering on the new garage. Hearing her excitement, Jake felt a rush of emotions. Was this the opportunity he had been waiting for? But what did it mean for his vision of an independent shop, tied to the heart of the community? The stakes felt higher than ever, and his hands shook as he hung up. The buzz of eager voices around him faded into silence as he questioned if he was ready to embrace this chance, or if it would lead him down a path he didn't want to take. As the sun set, he found himself back in the garage, staring at the Chevy, thinking of all the futures that lay ahead. Would he grasp this opportunity or forge on alone? Decisions loomed large, and an unexpected answer to his questions stirred within him, waiting for its moment to emerge. But first, he needed to decide if the path he was carving was really the one he was meant to follow. As the warm glow of the setting sun bathed the garage in golden light, Jake leaned against the cold metal of the Chevy. His heart raced, a mix of excitement and trepidation dancing in his chest. He could almost hear the echoes of laughter and camaraderie he dreamed of filling this place. Yet, the call from his mother weighed heavily on him. Was he ready to partner with Bob? Or was it a compromise of his vision? Jake closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the sounds of Prairieville to seep in. A dog barking in the distance, children playing outside, the gentle rustle of leaves. Memories surged within him, his father's hands dirty with grease, working late into the night to build a better life for the family. Would he let his father down by taking an easier path? Or would embracing this opportunity allow him to honor that legacy? Taking a deep breath, he straightened up and grabbed a wrench, letting its cool weight ground him. With each twist and turn, he felt a rhythm settle into his bones. This was not just about cars. It was about connection, about giving hope to others who felt lost or broken. The thought ignited a spark within. What if partnering with Bob could open doors? Later that evening, surrounded by the peace of his garage, Jake called his mom. "Can you ask Bob to meet with me?" he questioned cautiously. It would give him the chance to explore the opportunity on his terms. She agreed, the relief palpable in her voice. The following afternoon, under a bright blue sky, Jake met Bob at a little cafe downtown. The coffee shop hummed with the energy of chatter and laughter. This was Lisa's place, the one from his seminar. He scanned the room. Despite the presence of seasoned entrepreneurs across from him, he felt out of place, battling the anxiety gnawing at his stomach. Bob arrived, a friendly grin on his face. They chatted about the garage, and the conversation flowed easier than Jake anticipated. Bob explained his vision for their partnership, emphasizing how he'd support Jake's entrepreneurial goals. "I want to help you create something amazing," he said enthusiastically, eyes glinting with passion. But as Bob spoke, Jake's ear caught snippets of laughter from a nearby table. Lisa was there, meeting with a group of women discussing ideas that felt electric. Something inside him yearned a flicker of what could be lost in favor of comfort. "Jake?" Bob's voice brought him back. "What do you think?" Jake hesitated. Grappling with the dream he could feel bubbling just beneath the surface. "It sounds great," he said slowly, "but I need to be sure that partnering doesn't drown out my vision for a community-driven space." Bob nodded thoughtfully. "That makes total sense. Let me prove to you that my experience can amplify your dreams, not overshadow them." His sincerity settled a bit of Jake's unease. As they wrapped up, Jake's phone buzzed. It was a reminder for the upcoming town meeting where community members would pitch their ideas. This was the perfect opportunity to test the waters of his own concept, not just for the garage, but a new life. Driving home, Jake felt the sunlight warm his face. The decision began to crystallize within him, like an engine roaring to life after months of disuse. The air was thick with possibility, and he couldn't help but smile at the thought of presenting his vision to the town. Could this meeting be the launchpad he needed? Would he finally put a name to the dream that had danced on the edges of his mind? Jake had a feeling that the response would shape his future in ways he couldn't yet imagine. His heart raced with anticipation as he turned into his driveway. The question lingered like the scent of gasoline in the air. With tomorrow came a chance to share his passion. What would that reveal? The morning sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over Prairieville. Jake stood in front of the bathroom mirror, his reflection staring back at him. He ran a hand through his messy hair, his nerves twisting in his stomach like a coiled spring. Today was the day. Today he would step into the spotlight, not as a hesitant dreamer, but as a man prepared to fight for his vision. He dressed in a simple shirt, one he'd worn to every school presentation as a kid. It was a reminder of the confidence he once felt, the spark that ignited within him when he shared his ideas. He grabbed his notebook, a collection of thoughts, sketches, and plans. Each page held a piece of his heart, and he couldn't shake the sense of vulnerability that washed over him. Stepping outside, he filled his lungs with the crisp morning air. The sound of birds chirping and children laughing drifted through the neighborhood, a reminder of what he was fighting for. This wasn't just about him, it was about the community. It was about building something that would inspire, connect, and serve. As he drove to the town hall, his mind raced through possibilities. He envisioned the garage filled with people, hands tinkering, laughter echoing off the walls. It would be a sanctuary for those hungry to learn, a space where ideas could flourish. But could he translate that vision into words that would move others? Jake parked and took a deep breath. The town hall was bustling with activity, people chatting, getting their materials ready for their pitches. As he stepped inside, he felt the energy like static electricity buzzing in the air. It was nerve-wracking but thrilling at the same time. He spotted Lisa across the room, her presence illuminating everything around her. She caught his eye and smiled, her enthusiasm evident. She was the kind of person that made dreams feel tangible. Jake's heart skipped a beat, and he waved back. He needed her support, her insight. Would she believe in him? As the meeting began, Jake took his place among the others. Each person presented their ideas, their dreams filling the room with hope. Some were established residents with polished pitches. Others, like Jake, stood at the beginning of their journeys, raw but full of passion. He could hear Bob's encouraging words in his head, pushing him to step outside his comfort zone. "Amplify your dreams," Bob had said. Who was he if he didn't embrace this moment? As the minutes passed and names were called, Jake felt his palms grow clammy. Then, it was his turn. Taking a deep breath, he climbed the steps to the podium, clutching his notebook tightly. As he looked out at the crowd, he saw familiar faces, neighbors, his mother and Lisa, flashing him an encouraging smile. The world around him faded, leaving just him and the vision he held so tightly. With steady words, he began to share his dream of the garage. He painted a picture of a place where people could gather, learn, and grow. "Imagine a community," he said, his voice gaining strength, "where we can support each other, build skills, and share our passions. A garage that isn't just for cars, but for dreams." The crowd stirred. Some raised eyebrows while others nodded. Jake's heart swelled with hope. He could see glimpses of interest, excitement even. This was just the beginning. As he wrapped up, he felt more alive than ever. The applause that followed was like music to his ears. But as he stepped down, a whisper of doubt still lingered. Was it enough? Would his vision resonate? He caught Bob's eye, a knowing smile on his face. "You've got something special, kid," Bob mouthed as he approached. The validation filled him with warmth. Just then, Lisa squeezed through the crowd, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "You were amazing, Jake. I can see this taking off." But before Jake could respond, the room fell silent, and the town's mayor stood. Everyone turned toward him as he prepared to announce the winner of the pitch contest. Jake's breath quickened. Who would it be? Little did he know, this moment would lead him down an unexpected path, one filled with challenges and triumphs he never anticipated. What would the mayor say? And how would it change everything Jake thought he knew about pursuing his dreams? Jake's heart raced as the mayor cleared his throat, breaking the pregnant silence in the room. The anticipation felt like a tight band around his chest. He squinted into the bright lights, trying to catch a glimpse of the mayor's expression, searching for any sign of good news. "Thank you all for your incredible pitches," the mayor began, his voice strong yet warm. "We have some truly inspired ideas, and it's heartening to see such passion for Prairieville's growth and unity. However, as we all know, only one pitch can win the funding for implementation." Jake could feel sweat trickling down his back. He held onto his notebook for dear life, and with every moment that passed, his dreams began to feel more like a distant memory. Was it foolish to hope? The mayor continued. "After careful consideration, I am pleased to announce that the funding for this round will go to—" He paused, drawing in a breath as if he wanted to savor the moment. Jake's heartbeat thrummed in his ears. Jake Miller and his innovative garage project. A wave of disbelief washed over Jake. Did he really hear that right? The audience erupted into applause, but all he could hear was the deafening thrum of his own pulse. He stood frozen for a heartbeat before the reality hit him. Victory filled the air, draping itself over him like a warm coat on a chilly day. He glanced back at Lisa. Her smile was bright, eyes sparkling with pride. She was bouncing on her heels, encouraging him to move to celebrate. Jake stepped back up to the podium, a smile breaking loose on his face. "Thank you so much. I can't express how much this means to me and to our community." He took a moment to catch his breath and absorb the cheers. This was the moment where everything changed. There was a wave of collective hope washing through the room, and Jake realized he was at the forefront of it all. His small vision was transforming into something tangible. But amid the applause, he also felt an undeniable weight settle on his shoulders. The journey ahead was just beginning. What did it mean to actually carry a project like this forward? Doubt crept in like shadows crawling across his excitement. He couldn't help but wonder if he was truly ready for the challenge ahead. As the meeting came to an end, people congratulated him left and right, their faces flushed with enthusiasm. Bob slapped him on the back, while others offered words of encouragement that lit up his spirit. Yet, as Jake stepped outside, the warmth of the sun felt more complicated than before. The grand vision he cherished was now intertwined with responsibility, doubt swirling underneath the surface. What began as a dream had now expanded into expectations, his own and those of the community. What did success truly look like? Just as these thoughts tangled in his mind, a loud car horn snapped him back to reality. A familiar face emerged from the shadows. Every ounce of his nervousness sparked into recognition. His old friend, Mark, standing there with an expression Jake couldn't quite read. "Congratulations, Jake. We need to talk," Mark called out, his voice carrying urgency. Jake felt a knot form in his stomach. He hadn't seen Mark in years, and the last time they'd spoken, things had ended on rocky terms. There was a history there that buzzed like static in the air. What could he possibly want now, especially on a day like this? With uncertainty swirling, he took a step toward Mark, heart pounding. What could his old friend have to say? Would this lead him down another unexpected path? Or perhaps unravel the one he had just begun to weave? Jake approached Mark cautiously, his pulse racing. The years apart had left a tight grip of tension. As he got closer, he noticed the streaks of worry etched on Mark's face. That was new. Back in the day, they'd shared endless days of carefree laughter and late-night talks. But this felt different. "Hey, Mark," Jake said, forcing a smile. "What's going on?" Mark rubbed the back of his neck, a telltale sign of his own unease. "I know today is a huge deal for you," he said, his voice low. "But there's something you need to hear. It's important." Jake's stomach twisted. He took a glance around, trying to shake off the anxious energy. The sounds of celebration and chatter drifted from where people were still buzzing about his victory. He wished he could bask in that joy without this looming heaviness. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Mark asked, glancing back at the gathering crowd. Jake nodded, leading the way down an alley beside the community center. A knot tightened in his throat as he turned to face Mark, who leaned against the cool brick wall, his brow furrowed. "Look, I didn't want to drag up the past, but you and I both know things ended badly between us." Mark began, his voice trembling slightly. "I'm here because I want to put that behind us. But also, I've heard some things, Jake." Jake crossed his arms, feeling both defensive and curious. "What kind of things?" Mark hesitated, swallowing hard. "I've heard whispers about your project. It's ambitious so much so that some people aren't exactly happy about it. This isn't just a garage in your backyard anymore." "What do you mean?" Jake asked, his voice low. "This community needs this. It brings people together." "Exactly," Mark replied urgently. "And not everyone sees it that way. There are folks who feel threatened. They don't want change. You need to be careful." A chill raced down Jake's spine. He thought about the warmth he felt just minutes ago. What if the applause turned sour? "Are you saying someone might try to sabotage me?" Mark nodded. "It's happened before to other people. Just keep your eyes open and your circle tight. Don't let your enthusiasm blind you." Jake felt his heart sink. This was supposed to be a moment of celebration, not newfound paranoia. Mark's concern laid a thick layer of doubt over the excitement he'd felt just moments before. Was his dream already teetering on the edge of danger? "Why are you telling me this now after all this time? After how we drifted apart?" Jake asked point blank. Mark shifted his weight, looking remorseful. "Because even when we lost our friendship, I always respected you. I've seen how hard you've worked. I don't want to see you fail. Not over something that could be avoided." Jake searched Mark's eyes, looking for signs of betrayal or insincerity. Instead, he found only a desire to reconnect, a plea for trust. "Okay," Jake replied slowly. "I appreciate the warning, but I need you to know, I won't back down from this. Not now." Mark nodded solemnly. "I get that. Just be smart about it. Reach out to people who can help you." The weight of their past hung between them, yet Jake felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was a chance for renewal. He could build bridges instead of walls. As he turned to leave, another question nagged at him. What exactly was he up against? Suddenly, a voice interrupted his thoughts. "Jake," Lisa called, waving from a distance. "We've got some plans to discuss for the project." Jake felt a surge of strength as he smiled back at her. But his heart raced with a new awareness. The path ahead may be riddled with challenges, but he wouldn't let fear dictate his course. With Mark watching from behind, Jake pushed forward. What lay ahead? Would his determination be enough to face the hurdles waiting for him? To protect his dream, he'd have to dig deeper than he ever thought possible. What hidden truths lurked in the shadows, waiting to surface? Jake stepped away from Mark, his mind suddenly swirling with possibilities and uncertainties. As he walked toward Lisa, he felt every beat of his heart hammering in his chest. The air around him buzzed, filled with laughter and excitement, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being followed by shadows. "Ready to take this project to the next level?" Lisa asked, all brightness and enthusiasm as she approached. Her enthusiasm sparked a flicker of confidence within him. Today should be exhilarating, a celebration of dreams taking flight. Yet he couldn't erase the weight of Mark's warnings. "Yeah, absolutely," he replied, forcing the energy into his voice. But I think we need to focus on how we present this to the community. There might be some folks resistant to change. Lisa's expression shifted, her brows knitting together in concern. What do you mean? Who would be against something that could help everyone? I ran into Mark just now, Jake admitted, unsure if he should share the details. He had some interesting things to say about opposition. She paused, digesting his words. You think he's trying to create drama? Or stir up fear? Taking a breath, he shook his head. No, I don't think so. Felt real. It just made me consider our approach. We might need to rally support before we announce anything major. Lisa considered this, her blue eyes glistening with determination. Okay, then let us get to work on that. We should probably reach out to the community leaders, gauge their feelings. If they support it, others will follow. Jake nodded, feeling the stirrings of an idea. And if there's any negativity aimed at us, we'll nip it in the bud before it spreads. The thought provided him with strange comfort, and he felt a little stronger. They weren't alone in this fight as they began discussing strategies. Excitement bubbled back to the surface. Ideas flowed easily between them, each suggestion feeling like a small step toward solidifying his place in the community, a little piece of his dream. For now, he had Lisa, their shared vision propelling them forward. Just as the conversation grew more intense, Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Glancing over his shoulder, he spotted a group of people gathered nearby, their whispers tainted by suspicion. Was he being paranoid? Or did they seem to be watching him? Everything all right? Lisa asked, noticing his sudden shift in focus. Yeah, just something feels off, Jake muttered, scanning the crowd. There they were again, those same people who had always been resistant to change. Let us not let them get to us, Lisa insisted. We can't control how people react, but we can control how we respond. We move forward no matter what. Jake found strength in her words. They had each other, and together, they could light a spark in this community people didn't even know they needed. You're right. Forward it is, he affirmed with renewed determination that as they came up with a plan. Jake felt a swell of hope push against the fears lurking in his mind. Maybe he could transform the community after all. But just as he was about to dive deeper into their plan, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He fished it out, heart dropping when he saw the name on the screen, Old Town Development Council. Unease slithered back into his stomach. What did this mean? Were they reaching out to support his project? Or was it something entirely different? With Lisa leaning closer, peering at the screen, Jake hesitated before answering. This could change everything. What could the council want? Would it bring him closer to his dreams or push him into the darkness once more? Jake's fingers trembled as he swiped to answer the call. Every second felt like an eternity. Lisa's gaze was fixed on him, a mix of anticipation and concern shimmering in her blue eyes. He inhaled deeply, trying to steady himself, but the knot in his stomach tightened all over again. Hello? He ventured, his voice barely a whisper. Jake, it's Rebecca from the Old Town Development Council. The voice crackled through the line. There was warmth, but also an edge of formality that made Jake's heart race. We've been looking over your proposal, and we'd like to discuss it in more detail. The words floated in the air. Surreal. He glanced at Lisa, who was leaning in with bated breath, her expression a perfect mirror of his rising excitement. That sounds great. I mean, thank you. When can we meet? Tomorrow morning at 10? Rebecca suggested. We'll have some community stakeholders present. Jake could hardly believe his ears. Yes, that works. Thank you so much. He hung up the phone and exhaled, a rush of euphoria coursing through him. Lisa squealed, jumping slightly. This is amazing. They want to meet with you. This is the first step. Yeah, but there's a lot at stake, Jake replied, losing some of his initial excitement. What if they have concerns? What if they think it's a bad idea? Then we'll handle it. Remember what we talked about? She encouraged, her voice steady. We need to be ready with facts and testimonials. Focus on the community benefits. Feeling the weight of expectations settle back on his shoulders, he nodded slowly. You're right. It's just I didn't expect things to move this quickly. I thought we had more time to prepare. Time is an illusion sometimes. It's how we embrace the moment that matters, Lisa said, a glint of fire in her eyes. This could be your chance to show them how passionate you are. Jake felt the boldness surge inside him again. Okay, let us make it count. Let us comb through the proposal again tonight. We'll be prepared. They settled into serious planning, brainstorming every possible question and concern that might come up. Jake's nerves buzzed with a mix of fear and excitement, each heartbeat accompanied by the thought that everything might change tomorrow as they delved deeper into their preparations. He felt the storm of worries begin to fade, replaced by a new resolve. They discussed sections of the proposal, emphasizing the benefits for families, the growth of local businesses, the potential for revitalizing the community. Hours melted away. Jake's vision grew clearer with every word spoken. But then, as they wrapped up their final notes, Jake's earlier unease returned, creeping back into his mind. Hey, Lisa, he said hesitantly, what if the council doesn't see our vision? What if they shut us down before we even get started? She paused, her brow furrowing. We can't let fear dictate our future. We're not just trying to sell them an idea, we're inviting them into a dream. He took a breath, the draw of her conviction supplying energy. Right? A dream we could ignite together. Yet, as he glanced outside, the sun setting on the horizon painted the sky in shades of uncertainty. Just then, he caught sight of the same group from earlier, positioned across the street, watching intently. Their expressions screamed opposition, stirring a cold wave of anxiety down his spine. Maybe we really should be worried about the pushback, Jake whispered, a chill settling over him. But Lisa grasped his hand, squeezing it with fierce determination. We've got this, Jake. Together we can handle anything, even them. Jake nodded. But as he placed his vision and dreams on the line tomorrow, could he fully trust the strength of his resolve and Lisa's? As they prepared to turn in for the night, a single thought hung heavy in the air, a question that loomed large. Would their dream survive the scrutiny of the council and the potentially vocal dissent of their community? How hard would it be to fight for what they believed in? Tomorrow would bring answers and maybe even more questions. Jake woke up before dawn the next day, his mind racing with apprehension and excitement. The early morning light streamed through the curtains, casting a pale glow across the room. He lay there for a moment, listening to the soft sounds of Lisa preparing breakfast in the kitchen. The smell of coffee wafted in, mingling with the sweet scent of pancakes. It grounded him, a reminder that life went on despite the weight of the day ahead. Big day, huh? Lisa called out, her voice carrying through the small apartment. She sounded upbeat, as if she could sense his nervousness and wanted to chase it away. Yeah, you could say that, Jake mumbled, struggling to find the energy to get up. I just hope I don't screw it up. You won tea, she reassured him as she stepped into the room. Her hair still tousled from sleep. This is what you've been working for. Just trust in the preparation. He wanted to believe her. They had poured hours into refining the proposal, practicing possible questions, envisioning the impact they wanted to have. But standing on the edge of change always felt like a steep drop, and he couldn't shake the sensation that he was about to tumble. After showering and dressing, Jake found comfort in the routine of sipping coffee alongside Lisa. They made small talk, discussing everything from their plans for the day to Lisa's upcoming bake sale fundraiser. The rhythm of normalcy helped soothe his nerves, the laughter mingling with apprehension in a delicate dance. Soon enough, they gathered their materials folders filled with charts, research, testimonials, and the glowing feedback from community members who supported the project. This is it, Lisa said, glancing at Jake with a confident smile. You're going to show them how passionate you are. You've got this. How do you always seem to know exactly what to say? He joked, though a part of him cherished her support deeply. Practice, she winked, and they shared an encouraging smile that felt like a silent pact. The drive to the Development Council was filled with a charged silence. Jake's heart thrummed to the rhythm of the passing scenery. He focused on the sky, drawing energy from the sun just beginning to peek over the horizon, illuminating the world with hope. As they arrived, Jake felt the weight of uncertainty anchor him again. The council building loomed ahead, its cold facade stark against the vibrant flowers blooming in the gardens outside. People bustled around, some exchanging hurried words, others clasping folders just like his. "Remember, look for allies," Lisa murmured as they made their way inside, her grip reassuring on his arm. "Just because there are dissenters doesn't mean there aren't supporters." Jake nodded, allowing her words to dance inside his head like a melody. They entered the meeting room, greeted by the sight of several council members seated around a polished conference table. He recognized Rebecca, her welcoming expression a beacon amidst the serious faces staring back at him. "Welcome, Jake. Thank you for coming." Rebecca gestured for him to sit, and the tension in the air began to seep into him like a cold breeze. As he set up his materials, he caught a glimpse of the group gathered outside the window, their expressions unreadable. The same familiar faces watched intently, and just for a moment, fear clawed at his gut. What if he couldn't convince them? And what if those voices outside only grew louder? Taking a deep breath, Jake shifted his focus back to Rebecca as she began the meeting. "We're looking forward to discussing your proposal," she said. "We have some questions to ensure we're all on the same page." The meeting unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance, questions flowing and responses given. Jake felt himself sinking deeper into the moments, the facts he'd prepared blending with a passion that surged from somewhere deep within. Then, as he presented the community testimonials, a voice broke through the tension. One of the council members, a seasoned local politician, looked skeptical. "But what about the potential drawbacks? How can we ensure the community is truly on board?" In that instant, doubts resurfaced, threatening to unravel everything he'd worked for. Could he face the pushback? Jake caught Lisa's eye. She nodded, that fierce determination shining bright. By listening, he replied, his voice steadier than he felt. By engaging them in the process and making their concerns part of the solution. The room buzzed with murmurs as debates sparked around the table. Outside, the group seemed to grow restive. Could he really navigate their scrutiny? Did he have what it takes to protect this dream? "Jake, what do you think?" Rebecca's voice brought him back, refocusing him. He took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of hope and apprehension echoing around him. This was the moment. But how would the council respond? Would they embrace change, or would they let fear dictate their decisions? As the questions swirled like leaves in a storm, he felt a sweep of determination pulse through him. He was ready to fight for this dream, but would it be enough? The room was alive with chatter as Jake absorbed the discussions swirling around the table. Each question and concern felt like a weight pressing down. But amidst it all, an ember of determination ignited within him. He could redefine the contours of this place, ushering in a brighter future for Prairieville, one where the garage became a sanctuary for hope. "Every step starts with a conversation," he said, steeling his resolve. "And I promise to listen to everyone. This garage will thrive only if we work together as a community." He glanced around the table, locking eyes with council members who nodded thoughtfully. The flicker of interest danced in their expressions. Outside, the group watching from the window had grown quiet, their postures shifting from defiance to curiosity. Jake exhaled, channeling their energy. Maybe, just maybe, this was the moment when the tide could turn. The hesitation in the council slowly transformed into a constructive dialogue, punctuated by questions about logistics and safety. Jake's answers flowed with confidence, drawing from all his preparation, all those late nights meticulously crafting this proposal. He spoke of community workshops, skill-building sessions, and a welcoming atmosphere. Lisa leaned in, adding details about potential partnerships with local organizations. "We want this place to be a hub, where everyone can come together," she emphasized. "We're not just building a business, we're building a family." Encouraged by her words, Jake felt the last of his fears fade. "If you give us a chance," he continued, "this garage will not just be a place to fix cars. It will be a launchpad for ideas and dreams, a space where every family in Prairieville can build connections." As he spoke, he caught glimpses of Lisa smiling, her laughter pouring in like sunlight through a window and soaking through the heavy air. Those moments filled him with a new fire, a belief that their dreams were valid, worth fighting for. Suddenly, a voice rattled him from his thoughts. One of the skeptical council members shifted in their seat, an eyebrow raised. And the funding? How will you ensure financial stability in the long run? With a confident grin, Jake replied, we already have commitments from local businesses for sponsorships, plus a number of workshops that we could hold to generate income. And with community support, we can gather the funds we need to keep us afloat. Rebecca's face lit up. That's impressive groundwork. But let us also focus on building relationships with the concerned public. How will you address the pushback? Jake nodded, appreciating the focus on teamwork. If we can advocate for transparency and initiate direct conversations, even workshops or public forums, we can create a dialogue that bridges concerns and expectations. Outside, those questioning faces started to shift. One figure stepped forward, raising a hand, urging the others to listen. Jake's heart raced. It could be a pivotal moment as the council continued to nod in acknowledgement. Bob's familiar presence emerged in his mind. Partnership empowered him. He envisioned standing side by side with Bob and Lisa, rallying community members, forging connections. The weight felt lighter. They weren't just championing this alone. At last, the meeting edged toward its conclusion. Jake felt the moment's gravity pulling him in. He had poured his heart into this, every aspiration woven into the fabric of his proposal. If we can rally together, Jake declared, a fierce hope flickering in his eyes. If we connect as a community, we'll find ways to overcome any barrier in our path. This garage will symbolize our strength, resilience, and desire for transformation. As he concluded, applause erupted in the room. Amidst the whirlwind of sound, Jake felt a surge of adrenaline wash through him. They had seen something in him. A glimpse of potential, a flicker of unyielding spirit. The overall atmosphere shifted with excitement as the council began deliberating. Jake reached for Lisa's hand, squeezing it tight. She smiled back, an unspoken promise that they were in this together, braving the storm, ready for whatever came next. And then the mayor stood, an authoritative presence drawing silence. Thank you for your presentation, Jake. We appreciate your commitment to our community. We believe in what you want to achieve, and we're here to support your vision moving forward. Jake's heart soared. Hope injected itself straight into his veins as the proposal was approved, sealed with gratitude and agreement. This wasn't just a win for him. It was a win for everyone in Prairieville. When the meeting wrapped up, the community members outside, no longer distant watchers, began to gather around him. Voices rose in celebration, clasping hands and sharing congratulations. The air was thick with collective joy, laughter, and warmth. The community reborn. Feeling the embrace of connection all around him, Jake realized that this dream was never just his. It belonged to everyone who believed, who dared to hope, and who stood alongside him. Tears welled in his eyes as he looked at each familiar face. This was the strength of Prairieville. As sunlight bathed everything in warmth and hope, he knew that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but they would face it together. Through challenges, laughter, struggle, and love, a new chapter had begun. And so, Jake Miller stood not just as an individual but as a symbol of 1,000 dreams igniting. Together, they would turn this garage into a beacon of inspiration, one that whispered the hidden secret of community, connection, and resilience. Now is the moment to reflect on this incredible journey. You need to subscribe now to not miss more transformative tales. Leave a like now to help support the channel and feed the algorithm, so we can keep bringing you these inspiring stories. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about Jake's remarkable journey. And for the love of stories, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans like you understand the power of support.